Well, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Mannheim, Portland. I have purchased a vehicle here, and it seems like I've been putting my hands into a whole bunch of cookie jars lately, trying different things, motorcycles, partying out, I mean a whole bunch of stuff. That I actually haven't purchased anything from Mannheim in months, is what it seems like. And today I think I got a really good deal on a nice Audi. It's a 2014 A6 Quattro Premium Plus. I did look at it before the auction this morning, and from the sounds of it, it has an upgraded supercharger pulley, intake, and exhaust. Exhaust isn't my favorite, it's not terrible, but I think on a luxury car, they could have just left it with an updated or upgraded pulley and intake, but I will let you guys be the judge of this. Now, MMR on this car was nearly $10,000, meaning that is roughly what I should have paid for it at the dealer auction. It was literally the last car to go through the lane, which is why I am walking all the way back. Briefly show you guys what else they have. And I was the highest bidder at $4,600. Obviously they didn't sell it to me for $46,000 because that is half of MMR. Retail on this car is a little over $15,000. After brief negotiations, I agreed to purchase it for $6,500. Plus auction fees, roughly right under $6,900 for this car, which is still thousands back of MMR and almost half of Carfax retail value. I'm not gonna be asking 15 grand for it. I'll probably list it right under 12,000, given it has no mechanical issues when I'm gonna drive it now. I drove it, there's no lights, it started on its own, but I mean, with all cars, you absolutely never know, which is why I didn't want to pay MMR for it. But here it is. I have made it to the end of the line. Looks like tires are in excellent shape. So Premium Plus actually gives us some solid options on this car. And it looks like it's a dark blue gray. And I see some clear bra right there, PPF. Oh, I do remember that. And I remember I looked at it and I was like, oh, if I buy this car, covers are not expensive, I'll just get a new one. But let's take a look. Woo, let me roll this down. Here, let me actually jump out and let you guys hear the exhaust a little bit, because it is essentially a cold start. So a little bit of a deeper note to it. Minor scuffs here. Again, it's a 2014. It's a 10-year-old car at this point. MSRP on it, I think, was $61,000. And I see a very minor scuff here. So it's a, I guess, well-optioned car. It's not a base model. And I do like the spec. I like the tinted windows. I like the black interior. I like the premium Bose speakers. Ooh, shut that a little bit too hard. Okay, every time I get an Audi, it seems like I struggle remembering how they kind of work in regards to their stuff. Okay, looks like I need fuel. Got that. Let's turn on nav just to take a look at it. Put in gear. Actually, listen to this. So it doesn't have a massive supercharger. It's a 3.0 supercharged engine, but it does sound pretty good. Now, the reason why I'm not a huge fan of like exhaust or heavier modifications on these cars is because typically these cars were purchased by higher profile individuals, business owners, or executives, or whatever the case may be. And typically this is a more classier car. So it's not really, I guess, open for modifications, if that makes sense. but I think these aren't terrible and not like overkill, especially exhaust. Like, it's not straight piped. I think that would sound really, really bad, and honestly I probably wouldn't bid on it. But this is like subtle, and I guess I'll see as I drive it, see how it sounds, if it's terrible or not terrible. But from my driving, it has like the little backfire. Hard to explain. I'll try to get a video of it, but it sounded good. Like, it wasn't terrible, it wasn't obnoxious, and I think at this price, honestly, you can't really go wrong. I think I scored with this purchase, but again, we'll see once I sell it. Selling price will determine if this was a winner or not. But here I am at the gate. Let's get this thing pulled out. She is moving perfectly. I am going to stop by a gas station, get some fuel, and then taking this thing home so I could drive it, take it to the auction tomorrow, make sure it is good mechanically, nothing comes up, nothing happens, and then detail, and I'm hoping this car is ready to go. Looking for a very quick flip, and at this price I think I'll make pretty solid money.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Made it to the house. I put $40 in it. Look at this, supercharged. It runs really, really well. Exhaust is a little bit more than what I would like, to be honest. It's not terrible, but it takes away from the beautiful sound of a supercharger, and I'm a sucker for superchargers. But here, if you guys can hear it like this. Like, honestly, isn't that amazing? Like, I will take a supercharger over a turbo any day. And that to me is absolute music. I like that a lot more than what I hear from the back. So if they would have left stock exhaust with that, yeah, that would have been just beautiful. But regardless, car is amazing. It drives really smooth. And I was driving it and I was thinking, for under 7 grand, it is almost unreal how much car you get, especially on a used car market from like a higher end German car. It's crazy. I mean, this is almost like 90% lower than when it was brand new. That's, to me, that's wild. Anyways, I'm very happy with it. I will drive it tomorrow. I am actually thinking I will take it to my detailer. Interior is not dirty at all. I could honestly get away with just a very, I guess, okay wipe down. Interior is nearly flawless. The section I don't like is it seems like the car was sitting for a while, so stuff like this, I don't know if it'll come out from a car wash. I'll try it. And then, you know, like hood and whatnot. See, this right here could use a buff. Like just like that, and like paint kind of comes out. It looks a lot better. Because this car has a lot of potential. Mechanically it's sound, runs great. Beautiful car in my opinion. But if you have like, you know, junk like this on the door and the paint doesn't come through very well, that's what I don't like. So I want it to look mint, clean, as clean as possible. But boy, am I happy with this purchase so far.
The next day.
It is a new morning. I have finished washing it before the sun gets hot. And in some spots, something like this, it actually came out to be pretty decent, but a whole bunch of areas, especially the glass, I don't know if the camera will show you guys that. This right here, just minor like places like this where it didn't really come out extremely well. I mean, overall, I would say it's presentable. But even then, I am still on the fence of potentially taking it to my detailer so they could do a full buff and polish on the car. And again, it looks so much better than it did before, but still, especially like the glass back here. I mean, why is that so caked on? Like, it's not even clear, if that makes sense. Maybe like window cleaner would do a better job, but still, like that I don't like the way that looks. I suppose for now I could technically get it listed for sale, and then kind of go from there, but I don't know. I'm not satisfied. Like, moonroof doesn't look the way it should, and from this angle it doesn't look the best. Like, this paint has potential in some spots where it came out, like right here. Look, that looks pretty darn solid, but then you kind of move along and you see all of these spots. Even this, like, it's so difficult to get all of that off. I'm thinking it might be worth it to have them do it. See all of that? Just, it doesn't look the best to me. This will get delivered tomorrow, and when I was driving it, I did hear brakes squeaking a little bit when you apply maybe 5-10% brake pedal, and then if you go a little bit harder, it goes away. So a very like gentle braking, it makes some noise. And I physically looked at the pads. They look to be about 60% on every single corner. So either something got in them, or I'm not entirely sure what could have happened, but I am considering just doing all new brake pads. Brake pads are so darn inexpensive now. You can get a full set of ceramic brake pads for like $80, and I've done brake pads so many times now that I don't really mind. I think this car has a lot of potential, and as always with any vehicle I have, don't really like to cut corners. Want to do everything right the best way I can. So that's kind of where I am. I did put in more air into this tire, reset the system. It's okay now. I will continue to monitor day 2, 3 days and see what happens. But I think regardless, this is pretty darn quick flip. But yeah, see, the more I look at it, I'd hate to lose a customer because, you know, something like this doesn't look the best way it should. And it obviously doesn't look like it's a dirty car. It just literally needs a really good buff. And for a higher end car like this, I think it'll be well worth the investment. And I'm not going to ask crazy money for it. So Carfax value on it is a little over $15,000 if I remember correct, like $15,300. Probably listed like $12,900. Hoping for a quick flip, make some money and move on. So obviously, like, if someone were to say, oh, well, it doesn't look the best, I'll have to get it detailed or buffed, polished, whatever. It's essentially $3,000 back of Carfax value or retail value. So a potential buyer doesn't necessarily have any leg to stand on because the price will be more than fair as it is. And as always, I get a fair price. I always want to pass it on along to the customer. And this will be one of those cases where I got a really solid purchase and I will offer it at a very solid price, and in hopes to obviously move it pretty darn quick. But that's kind of where I am with this car. My detailer has a truck right now that they are cleaning up, so I will most likely take this one in. I don't think it needs an interior detail, but they could go through it again. It'll be something extremely minor and simple, but I think I will photograph it, post it, just so that, you know, kind of gets moving along. And then if anything, someone could come take a look at it and they could drop it off at the detailer for a full polish, or have them wait 2-3 days until, you know, we get it done. The other thing is, I took it through emissions yesterday. Most of you guys watching don't really have emissions in your states, but we have them here, and it passed with no issues. There's some focus right there. So this car, mechanically, for the state of Oregon, has a green light.
Several days later.
Audi's back from detail. It has been a day or two. So as you guys can see, unfortunately, it's starting to pick up some dust, but it did clean up extremely well. They did buff it, they did clean it up. It looks really nice, and they went through the interior again, engine bay and whatnot. So Audi is ready to go. It has been listed for sale. I think I listed it for right under 12,000, and it books for around 15, which I think is a fair price.
Much later.
And we are back at the house. It has been much later. And it has been much later because I have been driving this car. So this car is the nicest and most comfortable daily driver that I have right now. My wife has her X5, I have other cars, but this one it's so nice. It's comfortable, it's smooth, no clunking, it has navigation, it has Bluetooth, keyless entry, push button start. I mean, just overall for me, these are the types of cars that I enjoy. So I haven't been more or less like actively selling it. It's obviously listed, but I haven't really moved much on price with the offers that I did receive because I'm enjoying the car. Here's what I've done since then. The brakes squeaking, over driving, I would listen. It was the rear pads. So I went ahead and I replaced them with ceramic pads. There's no more squeaking on the car from the brakes. The other thing I actually did is I put the factory mufflers back on the car. So it had a muffler delete in sport paddle shift mode. It was actually a lot of fun. It sounded great. It had like burbles, very gentle pops. It sounded fantastic. But in auto, when you're driving on the freeway, like just a slight, and this is why I struggle with like these types of cars with a cheap muffler delete. It's like a droney, but not a really droney sound. I don't like it. And I think the car, it takes away from the luxury feel of it. So I ordered some used mufflers that were from a wrecked Audi, and I had my mechanic install them. Now, beautiful. I enjoy driving the car a lot. I don't know how long I'll have it, but for now, this is kind of my daily driver. And again, at the price I got it, I'm more than comfortable to continue driving it for weeks, maybe even months. I don't know. But let me know what you guys think. I mean, obviously, I got it at a dealer price, $7 grand, plus the minor work I did to it. So what, 7.5 is what I'm in it. I think that's a killer price. That's a lot of luxury that you get. You could pick up maybe a slightly newer Ford, Chevy, whatever. It's not gonna feel and drive as well as even a newer Subaru. You're gonna pay more than $7 grand for a 2014 Subaru with 120,000 miles. I would rather drive this. It feels better, has heated seats, front and rear. I mean, a lot of luxury goodies. It's very comfortable. What do you guys think? I think I did really well on it, and again, there's no mechanical issues. I've probably put maybe 1,000, 1,500 miles on this car. I enjoy it. Smooth, comfortable ride. Appreciate you guys watching. Thanks for spending your time with me. Hope you guys subscribe. Hope to see you in another video.